ran the ball with Marshall. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they did cheat. They had the film. They did all that. But we should run it. I think the game before that we played Philly. They was a physical team. We gave the ball to Marshall 30 times. And we won. He had 150 yards, whatever the case. So I still feel as though we go to New Orleans, we play in the backyard. I mean, his backyard, we should give him the ball 25, 30 times. Easy.
And, being on the same team as Marshall, obviously, it's incredible just like what this franchise has had at the running back position. I mean, such a historic running back position. I mean, even now with Todd Gurley, if he continues what he's doing. But is Marshall the greatest Ram running back of all time?
See, man, I'm an Eric Dickerson fan too, man. Like, I'm gonna have to say Marshall because I played with him and I seen it from up close. And not only was he a great athlete, but he thought the game. So he taught me a lot how he did certain things before he got the ball. How to trick Ray Lewis, make Ray Lewis think one thing, it's another thing. So I wasn't around at. As far as learning intellect, I don't know, he was 4'2", 4'3", 6'3", running, and how freaking nature he was. But when you look at Marshall Faulk, you look at him like when I first seen him, I'm like, man, he's short, he's a little pudgy in all season. Like, man, that's the guy. And then when he get the game, like, oh yeah, this the guy. Yeah, he's serious. Like, so, and he was tough, like to be little, like 210. Tough. I mean, at that time when you playing in that era, I guess we respect the era more now because you see how they changed the game. Where you can't hit guys certain ways and things like that. Now you can kind of look back and like that era was a little tough, and he persevered through it. And as a lower back, he ran inside, he ran outside, he ran over you sometimes and shook you. So he caught the ball, but he was more than anything, he was a smart player. So I got to go with Marshall. But Eric Dickerson ain't too far.
Well, you know what? I match you there. And it's funny because everyone's like, no Dickerson? And, I mean, like, look, I'd love to have him on this podcast, but if he doesn't want to come on because, I feel Marshall's better, so be it. I got to stick by my guns, man. I saw Falk. I've seen Dickerson highlights. I've seen guys like Dan Towler. I've seen Lawrence McCutcheon. But keep in mind, I lived through, like, totally remember every single snap that Steven Jackson was a part of. And I think he has a legitimate argument. But I still say Falk.
Nah, that man ain't got no. For him to say that, my wife told me, I didn't even see that. She's like, man, did you see Steven Jackson say he's the best running back in Rams? I'm like, no way. I don't see it. I understand you see it. Nah. Mm-mm.
I think it's an argument.
Ain't nobody miss
I know
like
what you
that.
mean.
Yeah. He was the only guy on the team. Marshall did it he had a share of wealth, and he still got it done with limited touches. Like,
Yeah. No, it's this is why I brought it up because it was funny. I had Victor Adianju on and he said Steven and he said Steven was I actually, you know what? He did say Steven, but he it's one of those cool arguments. I mean, there's not many franchises that have had that type of backfield.
Yeah.
And
you still got Jerome Bettis out there.
Yeah. Jerome Bettis didn't make it 3 years with them. They traded him.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just incredible thinking about, Greg Bell with his 31 touchdowns in his only 2 seasons with the Rams. I mean, that's nuts. But, it's crazy. But, hey, you don't play the running back position, so I don't want to bore you to death. We're talking about the position that you don't play. So, with that being said, I do want to touch a little bit on Lovie Smith because I know he went on to become a head coach and he went to a Super Bowl and everything as a head coach. What were your thoughts overall on Lovie Smith? How was it like to play under his wing?
Oh, it was great. I think he taught me a lot about the game, a lot about X's and O's, and more in that manner. He was a strictly for how he wants your defense ran. Like, you know, he was you got to be in your gap all the time and no freelance. And, so it was good. You had to run to the ball. It was all the stuff I'm used to coming. That was instilled in me at Florida State. So me and him. We was okay. We have, you know, I don't think we had no problems. Like I said, I thought he was a great coach. X and O's, he was great. I thought he prepared us well in the off season and during the season. So, and I wasn't surprised that when he went to the Bears and he had success. And I still see him. You know, he's out here coaching, probably not having the best success now. You know, the circumstance, but he shouldn't. I think he still should be coaching the league at the Bears. You know how they fired him with a winning record and all that good stuff. So it was a good deal.
And then, you know, obviously, again, you played with so much talent. Was there, you know, anyone that really in particular stood out as a mentor for you?
With the Rams, yeah, I would say it was two. I mean, I kind of talked to all the guys. I was a rookie that talked to the vets. You know, I was just always in their ear, messing with them and things like that. But my first year was London Fletcher. You know, of course, he was the free agent veteran that, you know, had a scrape for everything he got. So he kind of showed me the ropes and held me accountable. I used to go to his house and watch film, and we used to watch Monday Night Football together. So he kind of, you know, helped me my rookie year, you know, adapt to the league, how easy I did. Unfortunately, we didn't sign him back. That hurt me. But we didn't sign London Fletcher back, and I thought that was a big blow why we didn't probably make the playoffs that second year. We was still reeling from the loss of him. But he was a mentor. But I also would say Toy Holt. You know, just him being positive, that energy all the time, his work ethic. But what type of guy he is, the type of person he's a great person to have as a friend, and I still call him a friend to this day. So I would say Toy Holt and Fletcher.
I like it. And yeah, London Fletcher is another guy, like, you know, Rams fans were pulling their hair out when the Rams let him leave. And I mean, I would even say the same thing with Roman Pfeiffer, a guy that really gets forgotten about, but he was also a heck of a player. Rams have had some good linebackers. I mean, I know we were talking about the
couldn't keep him.
There,
can't keep him. He kept learning nights for 10 years. Unbelievable. You get rid of Ogletree. I'm just London Fletcher here 4 years, and they was a couple, but 100,000, a couple of 100,000 apart, maybe $1 million apart. I say, but they just didn't want London. I mean, being all honest, they didn't want London. London's a fiery guy, so we'll be in games. He'll be cussing people out, getting in the locker room, same thing. But that's football. When I came to Florida State, we played the game that way. Everybody, we'd be out there cussing each other out on the film, but it made us play better. Held us. I mean, that peer intervention is, even, you know, I coach today, and that peer intervention is still a big remedy. It ain't always what the coach can say. So when London was there, he held you accountable. You might ain't like how he said it, but he was going to say it. The powers that be didn't like how that rubbed off on some of the players. Some of the players didn't like that. London Fletcher gone. I mean, that's just being honest, because the money they was talking about he didn't get, that way it wasn't even really about that. They tried to say it was about money, but they didn't really want him just how he act, period.
Oh, I agree. I mean, this is, you know, 5'10" guy from John Carroll. I mean, he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he knows he had to work hard to get to that point. You know, I think people are really quick to forget about where these guys come from. I mean, you yourself, you came from Florida State. Florida State's a phenomenal school, and obviously you guys had a lot of talent. But someone like John Carroll, dude, I don't even know where that is.
John Carroll College. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know that. A lot of people don't. He played 20 years in the league.
Oh, yeah. He was like the NFL Iron Man. I think that's his
and the Rams keep him for 4 years, don't even offer him a real contract. I mean, some of the stuff you can't make. You just got to go back in that time and, like, what were these people thinking? It's unbelievable.
I mean, you know, I'm not trying to take shots at my own team. But I mean, let's also keep in mind ownership has completely changed, and this regime isn't that regime.
Yeah. Oh, we going back through the time. I got to talk on what happened. Like, you asked me what happened, my mentor, what happened. That's kind of the story. And it's a good thing that the new ownership been taking over. They're inviting the players back for the Legends weekend. I see a lot of positive things happen. It's more glaring today than was back there when they didn't invite players back. I mean, all that stuff Eric Dickerson was talking about when Fisher was there. I mean if he's saying it was happening, but it had been happening. I mean, as far as they didn't care about the player, how they treated, all that. Now, with the new ownership, it's refreshing. I mean, I like it, me personally.
Yeah, have you been in touch with this ownership at all? Have you been able, have you gone to any of those legend things or anything? You still stay in touch with the Rams?
No, I think I talked to Everett. I forgot his name. They last year here at the St. Louis. I had talked to him briefly, but that's about. I didn't go to the Legends thing this year. I think it was the first year them having. I might go next year, but it looked like it was a good deal. Like, it looked like they had a great time for looking at stuff on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely, and yeah, you should absolutely go, because I do get people that are like, "Yo, where did Tommy Polley go?" like the world may never know type of thing, I mean, until they listen to this podcast, and now here you are, and yeah, I mean, overall, are you in tune with the current team and everything? Do you still watch?
Oh yeah, I'm a football fan. I mean, I watch all sports. I mean, since I was a kid, that's all I analyze sports. I watch it. I coach it. My sons play basketball, and I'm a football coach. So yeah, I keep them around. My wife, she still loves the Rams. She watches them every game. So
I love it. That's awesome. I love that. Victor said the same thing. Just former Rams that still follow the Rams. I think that's really cool. And like you mentioned earlier, I was surprised that someone reached out to us, because once we're done playing, we're gone. It's like, man, I have I bought this Rams calendar, my parents got it for me when I was little, and I had a picture of you. I think it was for October, and I had it just on my wall, man. I mean, it's it's a special thing. I still think of that, that era that you played in. Whether you want to call it the greatest show on turf era or the post greatest show on turf era, I don't really care. But I can name every player on that team.
Yeah. That was the greatest show on the turf era. I played. It wasn't the post.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel. But everyone has their own games. But no, I mean, I totally I hear you. But going into the NFL, who did you model your game after? I feel like you kind of had a lot of, I could see a bunch of players, but I mean, who is there anybody in particular?
Oh, I mean, I would say Derrick Brooks, but like I said, I was a fan of, Mike Singletary. All the great linebackers. I watched all of them. And I watch all of them religiously. So I kind of took a little bit from, for all of them, all the great ones. But I would say Derrick Brooks, because he was, at the time, he was a little linebacker light like I was, but he still ran to the ball and made plays on the ball and stuff like that. So I would say, he was a person.
Yeah, and then, going back, obviously, with Florida State, the Rams have a pretty big deal, Florida State player. He's kind of turned him into a superstar, and his name is LaMarcus Joyner. What are your thoughts on him? I would really love to know.
I love him. He's a great football player. I love him even more when he went in there and told the coaches, if y'all got a problem with me, y'all can get rid of me. I don't even want the contract. That's a real football player right there. I really respect it, because that kind of same thing happened to him, kind of happened to me. We was in camp, you get into a tussle, and now they hold the tussle against you. You're like, man, this happens in camp. People fight all the time, man. That's part of it. And for them to hold it against him, don't start him and not like that right there, that's kiddie stuff. You don't do that. I see you talk to him, maybe fine him or whatever, but you don't embarrass the man, then sit him down. And I like him even more. He went in there and addressed the situation right there. Like, hey, so I like the kid from Florida State. He's a football player.